Okay, everyone. QW. I can't muster it. I can't muster the enthusiasm to be a YouTuber. So here we are. I'm in this inequality section. I haven't been here for a while. This is a fun section, or at least I remember it being fun. On my way to bejewel this window. Hopefully that means some good puzzles, but we'll see. I'm just exhausted with a game like this. It's just exhausting. Let's just start with the 4s and stuff like that. Let's work our way up. I don't think we'll get all the way to the 7s because there's still like 15 puzzles to do here. Real quick, 64. This is 64, isn't it? Yeah, this is 64. These four numbers added up make 64. So, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 set up. So the 18's got to be there, the 17's got to be there, the 15's got to be there, and the 14's got to be there. There's really not much else I can do about it. Let's color them based on the corners we've got here. So that means that's got to be blue. 18's got to be red. This is going to be interesting. The 14's going to be yellow, and the 15's got to be... This is... So I got to do some kind of weird spiral thing here. Oh, and I got to do it here, too. This is also 18, 17, 15, not 16, and 14. Okay, I buy into this premise. I've been given an intriguing premise for a puzzle. Let's go for it. So, these will have to come out like so. That's just given. Now, this is a nice, easy thing to do, but it might not be that. There might be some other, like, obvious things we could do from here that I just don't know. If I went... Like, this could be a case of 18, 17, 15, 14, right? I don't think so. I don't think we can do any checkerboards, things like that. If 14 was here, we'd have to do... Yeah, I don't think that's what's going to happen. If this is 18, this would be 17. That would be rather difficult to do, because then we'd have checkerboard land. I don't think that's it. I think this is going to be these two. It'll also be 18, 15. That's the thing. Maybe this isn't the place to look quite yet. All I know is 14 can't cut through this bottom area here. Yeah, nothing can cut through this bottom area because it would block... Yeah, the 14's not coming through here. The 14 would have to come around this side, obviously. But it would block everything in. Wait, what? Yeah. So I think... Yeah, if it's got to go around the side like this... This sort of thing... An 18 could easily come through here. 17 could easily take these. 11. So I've got to reach the 14 with 2 more pieces. It's got to be that one and then one of these two. This 15 now is going to come down. The 17 is going to have to go through here. 14, and I could easily take these pieces and take the 17 there. That gives me this 15. So I need to get 3 more. 1, 2, 3, like this. Do we have it? Yeah, I think we have that. Huh. Okay. It's just not very satisfying. Alright, move on. That's bound to happen, especially when you have 1,200 puzzles in the game, is you're just going to get some that are just But, I don't know. If the game was, 100 puzzles, and you have 10% that's only 10 puzzles, but if you have 10% puzzles in 1,200, that's 120 puzzles that you just go, that's a lot. The sheer number of that is atrocious. Okay, I'm looking at this thing, which is just a lot. This is just a lot. So let's take a look down here. So this needs to be at least 2. We just know that. So if we know this is at least 2, right? This is at least 2. We can make a series of 2s. This could be a 2, right? We could say that's 2, for instance. And then this would be what? This wouldn't be... We can't do 3 2s. It would have to be like 2... Yeah. 2, and... I don't think I put a wall here. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I can't put a wall there. If I put a wall here, obviously this can't be a single because it wouldn't be bigger than whatever's there. So we'd have a double, which means this has to be a single. But then this would have to be a single. And also, what would we put here? It's just going to break so many things. So, this has to go up this direction. It could go here if we had even larger, but I think maybe not. Yeah, but this can't be a single because that makes a single there. So this has to be larger. This has to be at least 3. Now if it's 3, that means somewhere there's got to be a 4 nearby. This has to be at least 2. Yeah, this has to go here. We can't. Well, if I did this, we could have. But this is at least 2, so I don't know what else to say here. This is 2 plus. This is 3 plus. So I could make 4 and 2, for instance. This would work. Yeah, if I go there, I could also do 3, 2, and 1. I could do 2 and... No, this would have to... Hold on a second. I can't put a wall here now, can I? Yeah, I can. I can do 3, 2, 1. If I make 3... Hold on. This can't be a wall because then this... Yeah, hold on. That's got to be 2 plus here. So can it be a 3? No, this can't be 3 because then... yeah, if it's a 3, we have this 2 the same. So no, this is exactly 2. Gotcha. Okay. I'm getting somewhere now. This is a 2. Either of these could be a 1, or we could make them a 4. So this is either 3, 1, or a 4. We're not totally sure here. But that means this has to be a 1. Now, here has to be at least a 2, which means this is this is a 3. This is exactly what we have. So now, this has to be 1 or 3. It can't be larger. That means this is either part of a 3. It can't be a 2 because it's next to a 2. And we have this rule over here, size separation, which I didn't really mention. I just kind of left it over there. Because sometimes I forget that I'm creating this for an audience of millions. And so I just think of something in my head and I don't tell you. This could be single, just fine. This could be not be a double, it could be triple, but it can't be larger because of that problem. So making this a triple would mean it's bigger than what's here, so if this goes over here and becomes a 3, at least, this has to be at least 4, which would mean it would have to go like that, which is fine so far, but maybe let's look at another place. Maybe that's what I need to be doing here. This needs to be, this right here has to be smaller than 3, so it's 2 or 1. So it can't move that way. There's always a wall here. So it could be a 2 just going this way, or it could just be a 1. I can't know from there. This has to be larger than here. So this can't be... Well, this could be a 3 if this is a 4, but this would really make some constraints. Well, if I decided to make this here, we'd have to have at least 4, which means we're not going to move it through here. We would move it through there. But we can do so. We can even do something like this. It's totally fine. This spot. Maybe this spot. Ah, we have an interesting little... I probably should have noticed this immediately. We have a little bit of a A, B, C, D situation here. This has got to be the smallest one. These can't be the same, because this has to be smaller than this in that row. So we've got to have at least 2 things here. This has to be... I probably should have kept that. So A, B, C, D. D has to be at least 3 less than A. So this could be 1, and then we'd have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1 and 5. If this is 2, 2 would be problem for D. Right? Look at this. Now what is A? C, this would have to be 3 at least. This would be at least 4. This is at least 5. There's not enough space here. So D is in fact a single piece. Just get rid of that. So this C has to be at least a domino. So it could just be like that. Yeah, because this could be a single. This could be a single. This is bigger. This could just be a single. It's fine. Could it go this way? No. Yeah, this can't go this way if it's a 2. This 2, 3, 4. This could also be a 5. So this now is 2 to 3. It's going to say 2, 3. That looks like 23. Nope, 2/3. That's what we make this look like. 3 or 4. This is 4 or 5. Which means this has to go up and that way. Now, this is going to be tricky because at least one of these is going to touch, which means it's got to have a really big one on the side. This is at least a 3. So if it goes here, this is going to be tricky. Because if this comes down, this has to be at least a 4, which means it can't touch that. So no thanks, that can't touch there. So this has to come at least that far. This can't be larger than a 3. This is 1 to 3. Because this could be a 4, and then that makes that a 3. This could also be a 3 if this is a 4 here. Actually, if this is 4, if this is in here, then we have to have at least 5, and it's going to touch this. This is going to be 2 or 3. So this can't be this also can't be 3. So this does in fact have to be a solo. This is where we are. So this needs to be this has to be 1 or 2. 2 could go here fine, or it could be 1 and then we start a 3. This now needs to be at least 2. Still don't know what I'm going to do here. 2 could easily just go there. Or 3 if this is 4, and then that's 5. I'm not sure. This, yeah, this could still be a 3. This can't be a 2. Is there any world in which I put a wall there? No, because that blocks it off. So these two go together at least here. Now we could make this into a 3 either there or there without much trouble, which would force this to be 4, force that to be a 5. Hold on, if this is a 5, now this has to be at least 6, but it can't, there's just not enough room for it. So this cannot be 5. If it's a 4 and it touches this, I have to fit 5 in here, which means I'm on both sides of that. So no, this is a 4 going over there. So we now know 4, 3, 2. So these are all done. Oopsie daisy. Actually, I think we know all of this now. All of these are done. So we've got, oopsie daisy. Now this has to be a 5, which we can fit. And I'll show you in just a second. You'll probably see it. I don't have to show you shit. So now we know that this is a solo piece. This has to be a solo. This has to be not a solo because it's next to him, but it can't be at least a 3, so it's got to be a 2. This has to be bigger than 3, which means it's a 4. Can't be a 5, can't fit everything in there. So this 4 is going to be here. That's going to be a solo piece. This 4 is bigger than what's here, which makes sense. I think it's going to be 3 and 2. Pretty sure that's what that's going to be like this. Oh, hold on, it can't be that. This has to be 2. 3 doesn't work because it's next to 1. Oh, this can be a solo piece stuff. Then we can have 3 and 1 like this. There we go. Then here is where we put the single 5, and then we just put a 2 there. That's a nice. I really like that one. That was a good one. I should have started there instead of the boring one I did earlier. Let's hold off on those 6s and 7s for a minute, honey. Can we get something? Do we only have 6s and 7s? I got a 5. Let's do a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions over here. How much? 28. 5 regions and 28. I'm just going to mark this so I see it all the time. And then over here should be also 28. There's 28s. I got to have 6. So the average on this one, the average to 5 going into 28 is bigger than 5. That's all I'll say for that. The average going into this 6 times into 28 is bigger than 4. So these on average are smaller. Well, we could know that from before, but this is around the size we make, which means having these be bigger on this side is going to be quite the challenge. So let's start with some obvious moves. Do we have any over here? Not so much. So I think we start with these things over here. So I'm going to have whatever this is going to grab these 3. Now this could be the entirety of this, but I could also make it bigger. That means this right here has got to be 4+. If this goes further, it's got to be even bigger than that. But minimum 4 over here. This, I don't know unless I know the size of this. Because if this yellow region's done, then I know this is a 2. Actually, let's use our brains for a second. By let's, I'm just talking to myself. It's brain time. It's time to use all double digits of my IQ. And if this only is 2, like if I stop this at 3, this has to be a 2. And let's use our brains to figure out how we can get 3 cells into 2. We cannot do that. That's not going to work. So this actually has to be bigger. It has to be at least a 4. This got to be at least a 5. That makes sense. That's the average where we're going here. This thing has to be at least a 3. 3 plus. Which means these two can't be the same unit, right? Because if this unit goes here, then the main issue here is that this now has to be at least 5, but then it would be bigger than this. So we've got to block that here. Which means there's no way for this to see 3 symbols from the rose window without being more. So this actually has to be 4 plus, which means this one needs to be bigger. We need to do that. And so now I'm going to pick another color. It's going to be blue. This has to be 4 plus. This could be done. We could just have 4, right? This works just fine. We actually can't do this because then it has to be bigger. So we actually have to block it this way, which means whatever goes up in this little region's got to stick out. Got to go quite a ways. 1, 2, 3. Actually, it doesn't matter how big this one is because we just know it's bigger than this one, and we can make it a giant honkin' region if we like. It's okay to go over the average. You just got to watch out what we're doing with it. So we got to do this. And then it can tilt in here or there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is at least a 7, actually. Now, that gives me the freedom to bump this up to 6 without too much worry. This one, who knows? But I got another set there. This region here could move out that way. This region now has to be at least 6 plus. So when we add these smallest possible numbers together, we get 17 with 3 regions, and I need 5 regions total. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine so far. Just making sure I don't miscount something. I could easily just have a single triple right there. Single triple, that makes sense. I'm going to bring this down here. Do I have any other gimmies? This right here now. This also has to be a 4 plus. Let's just figure that out. Reason being, this cell doesn't see any of the rose windows, and there are 3 shapes. So minimum 4 to see those shapes. Something like that. Now it's not going to be this. Problem with going straight down in this line is that, well, this 4 would be bigger than this one, and smaller than this one, and bigger than that one. We'd have an issue here. Would we have an issue there? I don't know if we would. We might not have an issue. Let's see. Let's see. So this red is going to extend. So yeah, we got that. This might be done. This might be done as well. Not totally sure, but this has to come out. So this does have to move. So this is probably a small region. We're going to say tentatively 3 plus. Well, up to 3. Because if this is a 4, this can't be bigger. Well, it can't be smaller than 3. So it's probably a 3. Maybe. Because this could be a 5. Right? This region, we've added 4 plus 4 plus 7 plus 6 here is going to be 23. Is that right? Wait, hold on. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 6 is 17. 21, sorry, can't do math. So if these numbers are right, we have another 7 in here, which is pretty big. So we actually have a lot of space. Can't go, hold on. I can't go there. This is possible. Actually, if this doesn't touch the square, these two are going to touch like that. So it's a question whether they go here or there. This would force this to be just 3. This would allow... No, this would still... This is just 3. Right, this here is going to force something like that. This here is not necessarily going to do it. Yeah, actually, this either touches that or that. Here's why. If I don't, if I do something like this, if I say here and there, now what triangle can this one touch? Oh no, it can just go through here. It's just really, really, it's really tricky to do that though. I thought like if I do this, I'm blocking something in, but it, I don't know. I don't know immediately. Let me think about that. Yeah, let me think about if we say that. And then we put this guy in. In order to get to a triangle, we'll have to go through here. Now, if we grab this triangle, this guy now has to go down, which is makes this at least 4, making that at least 5, and now this is only a 3. Oh yeah, this guy just has nothing to touch, I don't think. This way could allow, but now this has to grab... Yeah, hold on. I'm just trying to think, like, this would make a problem. This now has to be smaller, this would have to be 4. Which has to be bigger, this has to be 3. This has to be bigger than that. This has to be... This is only 4, so this has to be 3. Yeah, this isn't going to work. But if I did it this way instead, I'd have to take these. I could make this a 3. This now has to be... If the 4 comes down... Yeah, I don't think that works. I think this circle's going to touch one of the triangles, so I think this has to come down to get a triangle like so. But I just don't know for sure. There is no universe in which this circle here does not come out like that. Which means this will have to come down. This will have to come down to get a square. Or are these just the same unit? Like, that's the thing that it might just be. I could also just be a big dummy. Let's focus here. If I put a wall there and set this as a new region, this region has to be at least a 5, right? You see how that works? I have to go at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get this. I don't think I can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got one more possible region. This is the 5th region. The elusive 5th region is right here. This is the last circle to do. This is actually done. This is just 7. This is the elusive last region. If I was smart, I would be paying attention here. Because now, if this belongs to that elusive last region, we have a real issue. We can't take this because now this will never get anywhere. We'd have to go all the way around. We now have a region of size 7, so we would need an 8 here. And this would need to be smaller than a 7, so we'd have to figure out some way. There's no way they're going to fit. This must go like so, which means this can't go here. We have to go this way. And now we could go here or there. This would be tricky, but this would be less tricky. Yeah, I think this works easier. If I do this here, this needs to be... I mean, I can make this larger than 4, but this needs to be the 3, this needs to be the 3. This actually needs to be at least 4, so this would have to be a 5, right? So we could do something like this. But now this has to be larger than the 5, which doesn't actually cause a problem. I was going to say the easier one is this one, because now this can just be huge, and this just needs to be smaller. This needs to be larger than a 4, which only means this has to be a 5. So I don't know. Hold on. Let me see up here now. This can't be any bigger. So this is in fact a 4, which is already smaller than what we got, so I don't have to worry about this. This can still be a 6. Don't know. This right here has to be at least a 6. Which means if I grab this triangle, I'm screwed, because I need to make another piece. It can't be that square. It's going to be here. I trapped that triangle, so I have to grab this one. 2, 3, 4, 5. So is it in fact this way? This is actually really scary. because now I got a 7. So this here's just got to be smaller than a 7, which is not really a problem. This has to be bigger than a 7. Is there any way to do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the last region here. 1. I don't know if I can do that. This could just be 3 would be fine. In fact, it would have to be. This is done where it is. This is it. This is it. There it is. Wow. I think I overcomplicated that somewhat. There's another 5. Let's do that. Range 2 to 5. Okay. Mismatch. Well, that means we have a domino. We have this, right? We can say here's our pieces we can use. How many pieces? 59 and 9 is 68. Don't know how much we're going to add up with our pieces here. Let me try. Here's the everything below 5. 2 plus 6 is 8, plus the 20 is 28. We got 40 left, so we don't have to use every single one of our other ones, right? We have and then the other ones are S, T, V, W, X, Y. Yeah. So, adding all these together, 5 times, so that's 60. This here's 28, which give me 88. So there's 20 pieces I don't need, which could potentially be none of these, but I don't think that's how it's going to go in this realm especially. So getting rid of these little pieces will help me out. But let's figure out how we got to do that. So I know that this has to be bigger. Well, whatever goes here's got to come out at least that far. And since this has got to be bigger, this can't be a 5. This has got to be 2, 3, or 4. It's got to be one of these up here. Well, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possible pieces that I can put, which are smaller. Maybe if I could find places. So we're going to call this, I don't know, A. I'm going to call this B, because it can't possibly be that. These two could potentially be the same, is the thing. These two could as well. Right. These two can't, I don't think, right? They can. See, like a D piece here, and then like an E piece there. I was hoping if I could find 8 individual spots, I know I would have all my small pieces, but I don't think that's going to work that well. I know these have to go. This is a potential for a domino. We also could do this. This is also possible. We could have 5s here and then just have smaller. These two have to go together. These two have to go together. Now, if we had a domino... if a domino was inside one of these, which is possible, we would have 7 pieces left, which would require a 3 and a 4. Yeah, that's fine. Putting just a 3. Let's say I'd said instead this is just an elbow. Well, now I would have 6 pieces left. I would need 2. They can't both be 3s, so they'd have to be a 2 and a 4. So if I have a 3 at any point, we have the domino. If I have a 4, I can solve a 5. Like, that is doable. So either this is like 4 plus 5, or it's 2 plus 3 plus 4. I think those are the only things I can do. Yeah. Is it possible to do 4 plus 5s in both of these? Both of these? Is there an arrangement? Like a 4 plus 5, this is one. I do a T shape and a C shape. And then here I could do an L shape and a P shape. Yeah, it's possible to have multiple. I could also say this is an L shape and a P shape, right? Yeah, that seems to work just fine. These two can go together just fine. I feel like I'm just kind of staring at a blank thing with no real hope. There's got to be something here I can look at that tells me what I need to do. I think we got it. We got a sequence here. Got a sequence here. There we go. So this here cannot be a 4 or larger. Hold on. Yeah, I probably should have known doing something like this. I was just looking at filling in the shapes. But if this is a 5, obviously what's bigger? If this is a 4, that's a 5, but then what's that? So this is 2 or 3. So we do, in fact, have 2 plus 3 plus 4 here. The domino is in here. 2 plus 3 plus 4. That is in here. So now, this could be a 2 or a 3. This could be a 3 or 4. This could be a 4 or 5. Doesn't matter. That means this is not a 2 or a 3. This has to be at least a 4. Now, the shapes it can be can't be an I, can't be an O, can't be an S, because that's going to just ruin things. So this is an L or a T. Either way, it is going to take this spot. So it's got to be at least that. This over here now... this can't be a 5. Yeah, because of these. These are the 5, so this is 4. This can't... So the 5 has to take all of these spots here. Which means this, yeah, this could be 3 or 4, this could be 2 or 3. We don't get an answer quite there. So TC is possible, or LP is possible. If I do this, this has to be that, but... That means we got the 2, the 3, and the 4 here. So let's real quick get rid of these. If we have 2, 3, and 4, that means this can't be the 4. This is 2 or 3. This is 3, 4, we know. This here can't be the 2. This has to be 3 or 4. This has to be 2 or 3. The thing is, I can just... I can't do this. This can't be 3 because then that's the 2. There's only 1 2 available. We know it's inside. So this is in fact a 4. That's going to be tricky. No, it's possible. I got it. I was thinking I can't fit this in. Domino actually goes there. Now we put the L shape here, and then here we put the triomino shape. That is the only way to set this up. Okay, cool. I've got an in. I've got an in. This is actually pretty clever. That means this is directly a 4. So let's get rid of our 3i, our domino, and our L tetramino. We know those are gone. That means this must be the T tetramino because we can't make it an L, which makes this the C. So we got that. We got our T. So now we got to do 50 pieces left. Down here we have 55, and we've got, oh dear, 3L plus I plus O plus S. This is 4 for 4 is 12. This is 15. Oh dear. So I think we have to have all of these pieces, because if we have just one of them, we still need to get to a multiple of 5 in order to make this work. So I think all of these are going to happen. This is a 4, this is a 4, or a 3. Yeah. We've only got 4 pieces left to use. This is 5. We know this is 5. This is a 3 or 4. Which means that's blocked, meaning this has to go that way. Because if it doesn't go that way, we have this issue, which is dumb. So these two go together. And if it's a 3, it's just right here. Oh, this can't be a 3 or 4 because this just has to be a 4. So we got 2 of our 4s here. This is 3, 4 across this little space. Then here, this 4 is... Oh, no, honey. This is a 4. And then this is a 3, because there's a 4 there. It's bigger than that. So this is where our elbow goes. Then we have our 3 4s left. So what are they? We have I, O, and S. The S and the O can't go in here, so this is the I shape. This here must be the O shape. Some of this stuff here. It's your O. This must be your S shape. Like so. That's your elbow shape. Done. This has to go at least there. It's not going to go there because what do you do? So that's your shape here. So all those are done. Now all we got left is 5s. We should have 35, so we need 7 of these pieces here. Great, we can take it from here. There's an S shape there because, well, it's got to come out and it can't be a C. So that's that. This shape here could be the giant L or the giant I. Doesn't really seem like a problem immediately. We know all the rest of these are 5s. So yeah, that's gone. What do we got left? I and L are still available. What goes here? This spot right there. I've got to fill that one, but now I've got 5 spaces in here. I can't fill them all, so we actually have to block it like so. We have to have our P shape down there, which means we can't have it up here. So if I make a big L shape here, I have a P shape no matter what. So this is the giant I shape, like so. So we should have how much left? We have 20, so we should have 4 more. The L shape is here. 1. Oh. We should have the V shape here. The rest of this should just happen naturally. T and Y should be what we've got. That's good. I like how this one, like, I don't know. I like it when you get to, like, work out some sort of twist or clever thing, and it isn't just a tedious figure out what are all the possibilities you can do. Like, that's what I want to see. And of course, it feels like only about half the puzzles do the fun thing. All right, there's a 4 I've missed. What do I know about any of this so far? Corner. The corner has to at least extend out. So does this corner. This has got to be smaller. I could still do this and just do something like that. It's fine. Or I could do this and make a big piece here. This has got to be bigger than that. Now, if I did it this way, it would be fine. This is one where it feels like there's no twist. It feels like you're just trying a bunch of stuff until it works. That's just what I feel looking at this. It's not like the last puzzle where there was something interesting to do. It's just try a bunch of stuff, see what happens. It's got to be at least a 2, but it could attach to this. We could all just have one giant thing, right? No. This has to come out because it's got to be bigger when it's there. But if it attaches to this piece, we have at least a 4 here. Now this has to be larger than a 4, but it can't be the same as that, so we'd have a new region there. So yeah, that is in fact separate right there. This can't go here now because it would go... Oh, come on. Yeah, this can't go... this could go here and have a wall there. That would be fine, right? This would all be good. Or we could put a wall here and then have this. This would all be fine. But either way, these are like so. So this needs to be larger than at least 3. This is either a 4 or a 5. This has to be larger than a 4 or a 5, which means it can't be its own. We can't put a wall here. So this has to go that way. This has to be larger than that. I'm not totally sure how it's going to go. We can't move into that space. This is at least a 4, so this has to be at least a 5, which means it does have to come out this way. This is 5. It's going to be larger than this. That's fine. So on this side, we have at least these 2. We could stop it here if we need to use this space. I'm not totally sure. This probably isn't going to happen because we're not going to be fitting in. There's probably going to be a solo piece there. We'll see. That means here... Oh no, I can do this. This could be a huge piece. Well, if I go up this way, now I have a 4. This needs to be at least a 5. Great. This also needs to be this needs to be exactly 5. This piece then would have to stop. We'd have to bring this over. This would be totally fine. In fact, I think it would just solve the puzzle, Alex. I think this just does it. Know what I mean? I think you can see what I'm going for here. Yeah. Boring. Can't win them all, but when you start having 1,200 puzzles and you think you're going to inevitably have a bunch of boring ones, there's just too many of them. Make the game smaller, please. Okay, size separation is going to do something for me, but what? Gotta find where in here. Inequality is great because, like, I don't know, it just forces you to do math. Like, so instead of looking at this and going, what are all the shapes I can do? It's like, okay, how are these related to each other in a way that's interesting? So this piece has to be at least a 2. We've got that much because it's got to be bigger than whatever that is, which means this piece has to be at least a 3. And I'm going to actually mark it here because otherwise I'm going to say to myself that because I used this color that this is the size, but it could in fact be larger. This has to be at least a 2. But... Now, one of the solutions here is that this 2 moves up, this becomes a 3, and then this becomes a 4. That works out perfectly fine. If this 2 moves left and it's still a 2, this still has to be a 3, and this has to be a 4. But if I make this a 3, doing something like this, for instance, this can remain a 2. If this is a solo piece, we're all good. This, I don't know what it is. This has to be at least a 2. There's nothing that says these 2 pieces need to be the same one. We can do this, but then there'd be a 2 here. So right here has to be at least a 2. This can't be a 1, because then there'd be a 1 there, which means we have a 3 plus there. Okay, that means this now has to be a 4 plus, which means it's not going to go here, because this... we could have a monster piece. This 3 could become a 6, and then this would be a... 1, 2, 3... Ah, no, it's not enough spaces here. Max is 6 here, so this 3... What I'm trying to say here is this 4 cannot move up, because now this has to be larger than 4. It would have to connect here, become a 6, and then this can't be larger than that 6. So, we have a solo piece there. Now this has to be at least a 4, which is going to go here. It could be a 5, but now this has to be at least a 5. That 5 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's definitely not going to be here, because these are all 6s. Probably should have known that a little quicker. So that is just going to be done. 5, got to be bigger than 4. That's got to be that. So we got a couple solos. And this works out really nicely. 4's got to be bigger than 3, so we do have to stop this. This can't be 3 because of size separation, so we got to stop it there. This can't be a 3 because it would be 2 3s together, so this has to be at least a 4. Could still be larger than that. In fact, if this is a 6, it just makes things very, very easy because everything will be smaller than that. This is done, this is done, this is done. So this guy cannot be larger than a 2, so it must be a 2. And we can't have 2 1s next to each other, so that is the 2. This piece could be a 1. No, this piece can't be a 1. If this is a 1, what do we put here? It can't be a 1. It can't be a 3, so it would have to be a 2. So far, so good, but what goes here? A 1, and it's not going to be bigger than anything. So this is not a 1, it has to be at least 2, but it can't be because it's next to 1. So it's got to be a 3, but then be next to that 3, so we in fact have a 4 here. And then this 4 has to be bigger than this piece, which is bigger than that piece. Okay, so yeah, here we go. We have a 6 here, we have a 1 here, and then we have a 5 there. Beautiful puzzle. Love that one. Very, very good. Okay, how many more do we got? We got 9 left. I want to get rid of all the like 6s and 7s today. There's a 4. Get rid of that. Boxy. Boxy with size separation is going to be interesting. So down here we either have a 1 or a 4. That's what's going to... 1, 2, or 4. No. Dummy. What am I doing? If I have a 1 in here, how do I make boxy? Oh, it's not going to be that one. What am I doing? There. Let's imagine this is a 1. Well, this can't be a 1 because of size separation. It can't be a 2 because that's going to force a 1 there, because it can't be a 3 because it's got to be boxy. Therefore, we have a 2 by 2. Now, we don't have mismatch, so I can use 2 by 2s again. That means this here's got to be 5 plus, 5 plus, 3 minus, 3 minus, 5 plus. 5 plus. Okay, so some of the stuff we can glean from this. This piece won't move up because this 5 plus got to be bigger than that, right? Well, this... actually, let's start right here. These can't go here. These have to be the same. Now, this piece right here has to be exactly 5. It's got to go up like that. Meaning, if this is a 5, this has to be a 4 minus, which is definitely not going to go with this. So, 5 plus... This could be a 6 very easily. This isn't even going to be a 4. This is a 3 at best. 1 to 3. It's got to be a 2 or 3. Because it's got to be bigger than this one, which is now a 1 or a 2. This 5 right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be larger than 5, but it has to at least take these positions here. this 5 plus, 3 minus, those don't go together, so... This could just be a solo piece, so that's fine. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Yeah. So this could be a 2, and that makes that a 1. Makes this a 3. I don't think this can be a 2. If this is a 2, we have a 1, we have a 3. What goes here? It's next to a 1, a 2, and a 3, and it can't bend. So it can't be a 1, can't be a 2. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. So this got to be a 1. That's that, which makes this 2 plus, which is not super helpful. This right here's got to be at least a 2 for multiple reasons. This could be a 3, though. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hold on a second. I don't think this is going to be a 2. Here's why. This is a little bit far in the future. I could be wrong. Let me test this out. If this is a 2, we got to put something up here. Now, if we made this can't be a 2, obviously, so it's a 1 or a 3. If we made it a 3, now what goes here? It can't be a 1 because it's not bigger than this. Can't be a 2 because it's this exact thing. So we'd have to put a single here, but we can't put a single there. So what do? We put... Oh, no, this works if I do it this way. I'd have to make a double, because I can't do this, because we have the same issue down here. Can't do that. So we'd have to have that. But if we said this isn't a domino, this is in fact a triple, we have the same concern right there, where this is the same thing. So I think, yeah, we can't do a double. We could do a double here, have a single. I think either way, these two go together and those two go together, but I don't know what to do from there. It's possible that this is in fact a domino. If this is a 3, this is a 4. But it's looking like that's a single. Let me look somewhere else. This has to be 6 plus. And because of that, we can't put a wall there, because there's no way to get 6 going in a straight line. It's got to at least go down this far. And then we can't go all the way down, so we got to go at least that far. So we're either here or here. And either way, this is a big fat horkin' piece. This one here could just be a single, we don't know. Actually, if this is 3, we're in trouble. If I actually fill this out all the way to 3. Because now this has got to be 4, but then this has to be 5. It's not going to reach anything. If this is 2, this has to be at least 3. This has to be at least 4. So I think we've got a 1. And now, in here, we have a... Well, we got 2 plus, 3 plus. Making this a 3 isn't going to happen. So it's got to be a 4. Like so. That means this 6 goes here. Means we got a 7 plus. That's totally fine. It's got to be a straight line, though. Yeah. We can just... an 8, something like that, too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's got to be... We've got to make it at least an 8. Like so. Which means this right here is a domino, which doesn't really break anything. It's got to be at least that. This right here is another domino, which is totally fine. If this has to be 5 plus, though, we can't do this shit. So we've got to stop that right there. This has to be a 6er. That's got to be a 5. Now over here we have a better idea. This has to be 5 plus. It can't be 5. It's got to be at least 6. 5 would be a straight line, and it would be like this. This is a 2 or a 3. I don't think this is a 2. Actually, I do. I think this is exactly a 2. Because I think at this point we can just finish things off. See what I mean? Nah, we can't. Worth a shot. So if this was a 3, though, this could be a 2. This could be a 1. There's 3, 3, and 2 up here. Yeah, that's it. Beautiful. Any other low scoring ones before I call it? Yeah, there's a 3 there. We can probably fill in in a little bit. So we've got rows of 8 that we've got to fill in. This looks interesting here. this has to be at least 2, right? If this is 2 plus and this is 2 plus, that means whatever this is, this can't be the same piece. We have to put a wall here, because if we don't put a wall here, these two pieces, this piece can't be both smaller and larger than it. So we've got to have a solo piece here. But that doesn't mean we are stuck with 2 there. This could be really long for all we know. But this has to be 3 plus. That means this would be 4 plus. So this piece, 1, 2, 3, 4, has to go at least there. This piece is now larger than that piece, which it could still be the same one. It could be a 5, 4, and a 5. This piece is smaller than here, so we've got a 5 plus there, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dear Lord. 6 plus here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That has to be that. 7 plus, which is going to give us everything but the edge. And so now this is, in fact, an 8. Great. So if I put this 7 all the way to the edge, this would have to be an 8 as well, and it can't. So the 7 goes here. We have a solo piece, which is great. If the 6 moves over here, we have to have a larger piece than 6, so that's not going to happen. So we got a domino there. The 5 plus... This has to be exactly 5 now. Sorry, we just know this has to be 5, which means this is a 4, means this is a 3, and this is a 2. So, done. This 4 is supposed to be bigger than that, which is fine. This is exactly 5. If I do this, I have to bigger than 5, which isn't going to work, so it's got to move over at least once. This can't be a domino, so it's got to be the 5. Solo piece goes here as well. We've got to have... We could have 2 solo pieces here as far as I care. This 2 is done. This has to be bigger, so this can be maximum 3. This has to be at least a 2. This has to be at least a 3. So this has got to be a solo piece. Then this has to be 2. This has to be double 1s, and we're done. Neat. How about this? A 2! I missed this. Man, stop hiding the easy ones, because then I do them out of order, and it's not as fun. I feel like I'm explaining really basic points that should have been known by the people making this game. A, B, C. Great. That is a little sequence here. So this is at least a 3. If this is at least a 3, this is at least a 4. This right here... Okay, I'm going to do it this... I'm going to do it this way for a second. 1 plus, 2 plus. Because I was about to get my lettering confused. 4 plus, 2 minus. These can both be 1s as far as I'm concerned. No. This now moves over. Because if this is a 1, like, it doesn't work. So this now being a 4 plus gives me a little more freedom there. A little bit less with that. Sorry, we got to do that. At least a 5. At least a 4 here. Oops. Hold on, this has got to be bigger, so we actually do have to have this be a 5. That's taken care of. 4 minus, 6 plus. Totally fine. I've got to have a 6 plus here, and a 4 minus there. Which means I've got to take that with the 6. It can't take that because 6 isn't less, so it actually just take all of these. Great, which means I need this to be a 7 plus. And it can't touch the 4 minus. So this 7 plus going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it can't take any more than that. We've got to have singles, we've got to have something there. That's done. So we could have just a 2, we could also have it all the way up to 4, it's totally fine. So this 6 now, it can't go there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I made 7. I was like, that was a bad count. I was like, no way, no, please. And then we're done. Perfect. We only got 6 more. I'm just making sure none of them. That's a 7. That's a 6. A 6. A 7. 2 7s, 2 6s. Where are the other puzzles? A 5. And a 6. Let's get the 5 done and we'll be done for the day. This is going to be a long video. Non-boxy inequality. That's interesting. I like non-boxy. A, B, C, D, E. The fun part about this is A has to be at least a 3. It's got to be at least a 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got to do that. And we've got to block this. This cannot possibly go there. So 6 plus. I can take one space up here. I can take this one. If I take this one, I can take one space. If I don't take this one, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me just count up the spaces. 30 spaces. 10, 10. This 25 with these. If I make this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 together makes 30. Right? So now I know even more. 3 or 4, 4 or 5, 5 or 6. No, I don't know that actually. I don't know that. Because I can be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or I could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. I don't know. It can be that. As long as it's non-boxy. Which means this here has to move that way, right? If I don't, I have 1, 2, it can't be that. It would have to be this. Yeah, so this has got to move over that way. It can move up just fine. No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. This is going to be trouble. This is going to be trouble. Okay. So if I block this in, this has to be at least 4, right? If it is 4, no matter what I do, I create boxes. So this would actually have to be a full... Yeah, if I block this in, I can't solve this. Any 4 I make makes a box. Any 5 I make makes a box. A 6 is a box, so this actually has to move up like so. This has to be a 5. So now we know 3. This is 5. This is now 6 plus, 7 plus, and 8 plus. So the 6... So 6 plus 7 plus 8 is 21. So this has to be a 6, because if it's a 7, we go 7, 8, 9, and we go above 22. If this is an 8, we have 8, 9, 17 plus 6 is 23. So this has to be a 7, this is 8 or 9, and in fact has to be a 9. So now the 6 here is going to have to make this shape, because if we take this one, what else is going to get in here? We're going to have this shape here. So that's got to be the 6 shape. The 7 shape has got to take whatever's left, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 9, this is going to be tricky. I have to get something here. This can be a 4. That's it. Then this is an 8. This is not a 9. This is an 8. So the 8 here goes in that spot, and then the 7 takes the remainder, and we're good. There we go. Got it. Haha! That was way easier than I thought it would be, which is good. It means I didn't go over an hour. Yay! I'm back to doing areas of the game that are well designed again. Yay! We're back to the good stuff. Okay, I'm going to stop here and come back in another video to take care of the remainder of these puzzles. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. It's getting to the point where I start to wonder if there's not better things you could be doing, because there's just way too many of these videos. But whatever, there's other autistic people in the world. Welcome to my autistic channel. Next time I might be going back to the compass, which I don't like as much, but we'll see. Goodbye.